Welcome to another episode of The Forge. I'm Matt Pierce, your host. We've got a great show for you. We've got Tom Johnson, who is a technical communicator. He's got some fantastic things that we're going to be talking about. We've got another bearded episode of a Dan Nunez video to teach you about the clipboard. We're going to be talking about TechSmith's new mobile app, Coach's Eye, and then we've got Screencast of the Month. We're live right now with The Forge. All right, before we talk to Tom Johnson, a couple house cleaning things that we want to just make sure we're taking care of. It is the fall after all. Get your house ready for winter. If you want to follow us on Twitter, it's hashtag TSCForge, or you can always email us at theforge@techsmith.com. We'd love to have your comments, questions, and suggestions. Last thing before we talk to Tom, hey, last month we talked about the Screenchamp Awards. Do you want fantastically awesome prizes? Like these? Yes, we got a ton of great prizes. All you have to do is go to promo.techsmith.com/ I think it's ScreenChamp. We'll get a link out for you. And then you could win awesome stuff. But you need to submit your entries or you're not going to win. So make sure you get those entries in. It doesn't have to be something new. You can always use something old. All right. Well, I am pleased to welcome Tom Johnson to our show. Tom, welcome to The Forge.
Hey, I'm glad to be here.
So Tom, just because, we talk to a lot, have a kind of a wide audience, and not everyone might know you. For those that don't, Tom writes a blog, I'dRatherBeWriting.com. Tell us a little bit about yourself, though, Tom.
So I'm primarily a technical writer. I work for a nonprofit in Salt Lake City, the LDS Church, as a senior technical writer, trying to create help materials so that end users can learn how to use new software that our IT department creates. So I typically create a lot of different things, but quick reference guides, and screencasts or video tutorials, online help, other kind of instructional material is mainly what I do. I also manage the technology blog at LDS Tech, so I help do the articles on that or organize them and so forth. And then, of course, my own blog where I like to explore all these trends in technical communication. I'm especially interested in the visual aspects of communication because I think that's really where users get a lot of value. Anything from screencasts to these visual guides, people really respond well to them.
So Tom, I've gone out and I've read your blog. I've been following it for a little while. It seems to me that one of the things as I go out and talk to technical writers, and I think there's these conversations that are happening, especially in these days and times, that visually communicating, especially technical material, is difficult. So I guess why do you think it's maybe so difficult for technical communicators to do this? What makes it hard?
Well, it depends what kind of scenario you have. If you have to translate your material, that's the most difficult aspect of any kind of visual approach. Because if you embed words in an image, how do you translate that? Or it makes it a lot more difficult. And if you have a screencast that you want to translate into Japanese, you've got to get another operating system. You've got to populate your application with sample test data in another language. So there's that. But let's say that translation isn't a huge factor in your project. Maybe you're not even translating at all. In that case, there's a huge barrier that a lot of technical writers feel just for doing a video tutorial. You've got to figure out a mic. You've got to figure out where you're going to record it. Most places I've worked don't have a built-in studio where you can record things in a quiet environment. So that's like the first hurdle, right? And then figuring out, how you're going to go about this video. Usually, technical writers work on an application for months, and only in the last week is it actually functional enough that you can record a video. So you've got a lot of lag time beforehand where you can't actually record a video of the application because it's not done. And then you've got to populate it with a bunch of test data and use cases and make sure that even though there's still glitches and things that don't work right, that you can still successfully show something that looks like it's working flawlessly. So those are some of the challenges. But I think that I don't know if this is kind of harsh criticism, but really technical writers often come from a writing background. They feel very comfortable with words, and it's our strength a lot of times. So we naturally fall towards more written communication, text-heavy communication. A lot of us love to read. Maybe people aren't as visual learners as a lot of users are. But I think that, that doesn't necessarily translate to these visual interfaces that software is. And a visual interface kind of merits some kind of visual mode of instruction. And I think when we do that, even if it's not super high quality, it really connects with users.
So Tom, I like this thread because I was recently at a technical communications conference, and these are some of the conversations we had. Does the quality, does it have to be this beautiful, pristine, graphic artist created content to be successful? But also the notion of, a lot of technical writers didn't feel super comfortable with the notion of like, hey, I'm really good with words. I don't do the visual thing. So are there things that you think technical writers or really anyone could do to get better in that kind of stream of thinking visually and creating visually?
Well, I think the first step is to believe that visual products are really powerful. I think the biggest hurdle is that people are very comfortable in just going about their regular kind of deliverables of web help and long printed guides and so forth. And in all honesty, when you sit down and watch users, I think it will change your mind. I recently got to participate in some usability testing that we did. We invited some users in, and we had a usability research guy kind of ask them to do different tasks. And they got into this application, and they would start to use it and fumble around, and the researcher would say, okay, now try to do X, right? And they couldn't figure it out. Eventually, they click the help. And this was pretty exciting because to actually see a user go into the help on his or her own is a treat. And I saw that I had some video tutorials there. I called them screencasts, and they actually responded really well to them. They loved them. Initially, I had them kind of buried in a tab called Screencast, and the first user said, "Oh, when I saw Screencast, I thought that was like a webcast that I would share my computer screen or something." So I ended up changing the name to Video Tutorials, and I stuck all 5 of my videos right on the homepage. So immediately when a user clicks help, they see them, and to see user after user just like see the videos and be kind of pleasantly surprised, and then actually watch them. Was really kind of a turning point for me. I started to think, why am I writing so much text? Almost nobody read the text, and if they do read the text, it's usually because they're scanning for a specific answer. And really, to say that videos fit every learning situation is a complete fallacy, right? If you have an advanced user and they're trying to figure out a specific question to something, is this a bug, or how do I do? Which screen is this on that I want to go to? Yeah, text really fits that because it's searchable, it's scannable, it's easy to consume. But if you have a new user, somebody who's totally new to the system, whether they're tech savvy or not, they really prefer the videos as a kind of grounding point. So the first step is to believe, in other words, that video has power. And then I think to get into it, it just takes some practice and some trial and error of trying to do some of the screencasts. You mentioned something earlier about people feeling that they have to produce some high quality content. And I think this is a huge mistake that a lot of people feel. Traditionally, a lot of times you'll have a professional voiceover record the voice. You'll have maybe some audiovisual specialist kind of match up the voice with the voiceover, and then maybe you have the technical writer write the script and so forth. That model seems like a giant ship that doesn't turn. It's not very nimble. To have a technical writer take charge of every aspect of the creation and production of the screencast seems to me like something that fits the agile development methodology that most software shops have, or at least that a lot of software shops follow, in that you can make changes quickly. As software gets a new release, you can update the screencast. You haven't sunk thousands of dollars into it, and you can continue moving forward, creating new ones without this huge effort.
Well, it seems like even outside the software model, if you're doing agile development, yes, that it seems to make good sense. But even if you're working for a big organization, it seems like it makes sense there too, because you're going to save time, you're going to save money, and you can still iterate, even if it's not an agile official kind of development process.
The part that I think most technical writers, at least I have felt most weak with, is the voiceover part. A lot of times people try to do a video tutorial and they don't sound very enthusiastic or energetic. Their voice is dry, or it sounds like they're just reading it kind of in a monotone way. And, I think there's definitely, I respect people who are professional voiceover artists because it's a huge talent. But even if you have to send out your voice to some other company or some other service to, dub in a voiceover, that's still significantly cheaper than, than having to coordinate all these different parts from the beginning. But I think people can learn to improve their voice, and through a few simple techniques, they can sound better. I don't know if you want to go towards that direction, but
yeah, because I mean that's something I also see a lot, is that I hear the same comment from a lot of our users, is that I hate my voice. Why would I record my voice? I don't like it. And so I think it's a big challenge that not just technical writers have, but I think a lot of people, educators, if it's a teacher in a classroom, they're probably used to talking a lot, but not hearing the recorded self. So I think that's a big challenge. So if you have a couple of tips, we'd love to hear them.
Well, I think if you're creating a screencast for your company that has to have a certain level of formality, you probably end up writing a script. If you're just doing something for the web, if your blog, it doesn't have, it can be a lot more informal. Yeah, then go off the fly and you'll sound a lot more natural, and things will come without having to, try to fix your voice in any special way. So if you're reading from a script, I think having two monitors is a big plus, because then you can kind of fix your script as you go about it. Let's say you record it and you say, that doesn't sound right. You can just fix it over there and do another recording. Whereas if you have to print it out each time and then go back and reprint it, it can be really stale, or it can be really more cumbersome. The second thing is, if you want to try to increase a sense of naturalness about your voice, you could perhaps read the conceptual parts of your script, but then when you show a how-to process, like click the insert menu and choose picture, you don't have to read that. You can just go, and while you're navigating with your mouse, you can just say that part, and you probably won't fumble that up very much.
So I like that idea though. Mix it up a little bit. So, Tom, we are running out of time. So if you got one more tip, and then we do need to wrap up and keep the show moving. But last tip for voiceover?
So the last tip is you can go back and dub over your own voice. So let's say you go through your whole 3-minute screencast and you are shaky in some places and fumble in other places. You can just kind of open it up in Audacity or something where you can move along the track and just listen to 5 seconds, repeat it, and say it in a better way, and just move through and just basically redub it. And that's one way to easily fix it. So
awesome. Well, Tom, I want to thank you for coming on and talking and sharing some of your tips about technically communicating in a more visual way. And I think there's a lot of room, whether you're doing screencasts or screenshots or just other typical graphics that you might find. If you guys want to find more from what Tom thinks, he does write the blog, I'dRatherBeWriting.com. Go check it out. I went through some things this morning, and there's a lot of good stuff there, especially if you're interested in communication in general. So, Tom, we appreciate it. We'll get some links up on the blog for you so that people can find you very easily. And hang on just a second. We're going to cut right now to Dan Nunez's video. You ever wondered about what the clipboard is? Now, probably a lot of you out there are saying, I know what the clipboard is, but maybe you haven't heard it quite like this. So let's go to Dan.
Hey everybody, DanNunez.com here, and for today's episode of The Forge, I've really outdone myself by making all the necessary preparations to create the best clipboard tutorial the world has ever known. But not this kind of clipboard. No. I'm talking about the one inside your computer. At the top of my screen, you'll see 3 folders. The middle one has a custom icon I created to help illustrate the idea that the clipboard acts as temporary storage for data that you're trying to move from one place to another. Emphasis on the word temporary. The things you put there don't necessarily stay there, so use it accordingly. And chances are you do already use it. Every time that you cut or copy something, it goes to your clipboard. And depending on which one you're using, it may remain there when you paste it. So to help you understand cut, copy, and paste, I've created some examples for us to look at. We'll start with copy because that's the one I use most frequently. If I open up this folder, you'll see a file, and if I right-click on this file, I can choose to copy it to my clipboard from this drop-down menu. But I want you to be a little more efficient than that, so I'm going to teach you some keyboard shortcuts. If I hold down Control and hit C with the file highlighted, it copies that file to my clipboard. If you're on a Mac, then you don't have a Control key, but don't worry, all you gotta do is highlight that file and then hold down the Command key and then press C, and that'll copy it to your clipboard the same way. The reason why you don't see a second copy instantaneously in the same folder is that your computer doesn't like 2 things by the same name in the same location. To give you an idea, I'm going to just right click and hit paste, and you'll see that it tacks a little bit of extra file name on the end. And if I do it again, you'll realize that copy allows you to paste something infinite times without removing it from the clipboard. So bear in mind, you can copy something once and paste it multiple times, and if you're on a Mac, substitute Command for the Control key. Some of you are probably wondering, Dan, is there a keyboard shortcut for paste? And hypothetically speaking, I'm glad you asked. All you gotta do is hold Control and then press V, and you can paste something without using your mouse. Now, to give you a better idea of how versatile the clipboard can be, I'm gonna show you how it handles text. These 3 files are representative of anything I ever write. A bunch of garbage text and a little bit that actually matters. With that portion highlighted, I hold down Control and then press C. Now, it doesn't look like anything happened, but the text that matters is now on my clipboard and is ready to be pasted. If I want to paste that, I could do it right here infinitely, but instead I want to go to a different program. This is sort of why the clipboard exists. So you can navigate to somewhere else, maybe even a different sort of text program, pop open a file, and then give it what it needs by holding Control and then pressing V. Speaking of needs, it's imperative that anybody who appreciates copy and paste download the free screen capture software provided by TechSmith called Jing, and I'll show you why. All I need to do is press one button and I can click and drag the section of the screen I wish to share. Once I've completed that, I can capture either an image or a video. I'm going to do an image, which allows me to click and drag an arrow to the text that matters. And if I press this button, that image gets uploaded to screencast.com, and the next time that I hit paste by pressing, again, Control V, I get a link to that image, which is now hosted on the internet. And the person who I paste it to, say in an email or chat, gets the thing that I was looking at with the annotations they need to understand. Please download Jing. Stop watching this right now and go download it. It's no big deal. Alright, if you're still here, let's talk about cut. Earlier I mentioned you can paste something as many times as you like, as long as it was copied to your clipboard. Now Jing's already gone to the trouble of copying this URL there, so I can just keep on pasting it till the cows come home. Cut doesn't work that way. If copy is sort of like cloning, then cut is more like teleportation. If I highlight a passage and then hold Control and press X to cut it, you'll see it disappears. If I put my cursor somewhere else and hold Control and press V to paste it, there it is again. Herein lies the similarities and distinction between cutting and copying. If you highlight something and cut it, it gets removed from its original location, and then you can paste it to wherever it's going to go. If you copy it, it stays right where it is, but you can paste an instance of it as well. Naturally, the consequences for removing information from the place where you expect to find it are a little bit more dire than, say, adding a copy of that information in a second location. For this reason, I want you to exercise extreme caution whenever using the cut shortcut. Control X. Now, to give you a better idea of how cut works with images as opposed to text, I've set up an example. Here I have 2 images, one of a fly and one of Jeff Goldblum. Something I haven't shown you yet is that the clipboard can hold on to multiple files at once if you select them together going into the process. At the risk of wearing out my control key, I'd like to tell you that you can add or remove singular files from a group selection by holding down Control and then clicking on the file in question. If you change your mind, hold down Control and click on it again, and now we're ready to go. Cut that selection. And I think you'll already notice there's a difference between working with files and text. With the text, it disappeared entirely, but with the files, it goes 50% transparent. These files are sort of in limbo, somewhere between the clipboard and their original location. If you make a mistake, most of the time you can check back in that original location and you'll find the files waiting for you. Since everything seems to be in order, I'm going to pop open a new folder and then hold down Control and hit V, and there are my files. They've been removed from their original location as soon as they arrived in the next one, just like teleportation. I'm going to go ahead and just slide those back over, and you'll see that that acted as a cut function. I don't like dragging though. I don't really know if it's copying or cutting half the time. So all you got to do is have the files highlighted, hit Control X, choose the new folder, and then hit paste. Wait. That's not supposed to be possible. In the unlikely event that you suffer from file splicing during a cut and paste, you might be in trouble. See, those original files are gone. And in addition to that, after you successfully paste something that you've cut to the clipboard, it has a tendency to no longer reside there. Look, empty. Reminds me of how I started the tutorial, by saying that the clipboard is fickle. It really is only temporary data storage. Every time you cut or copy something new to the clipboard, it replaces whatever data was being stored there previously. But don't worry, I've got one more trick up my sleeve, and a keyboard shortcut that I really hope you remember. When things get weird on the computer people reach for undo, and they don't need to reach very far. That's by design. If you look at the bottom left-hand corner of your keyboard, you'll see that the 4 keyboard shortcuts I listed today, Z, X, C, and V, are all within pinky range of the Control key. This implies a hierarchy of importance, which I firmly believe in. Cut, copy, and paste are all in the Hall of Fame of keyboard shortcuts, but nothing holds a candle to undo. To prove it, let's wrap things up by getting Jeff Goldblum back. All I gotta do is go to the folder where I just pasted him, hold Control, and hit Z. And it's like he never left. If you've never thought to yourself, Control Z, after falling down in public or spilling something on your good pants, then dare I say you may not spend enough time on a computer. And by enough, I mean an unhealthy amount. That having been said, a working knowledge of the clipboard, some shortcuts, and the onset of winter should be just the conditions you need to get started. I'll see you on the internet.
All right, we are back with Brooks and Kuj, aka Bad Cop and Worst Cop, right? Is that true?
Bad cop, bad cop.
We'll go with that.
We don't want to know why. We're not going to find out. But they're here to talk about a new offering from TechSmith. Okay, guys, what do you got?
Well, I mean, the easiest way to get started is just go.
Oh, that was lame.
Right. So we're here to talk about solving 2 of the world's problems. 1, throwing t-shirts is lame. 2, we need an easy way to review how lame it is and point out all the problems with throwing t-shirts. So we're basically trying to accomplish all of that with a little app called Coach's Eye. Coach's Eye is, as we're about to see, I don't want to waste too many words on it because my bad cop friend here will put the beer down and show you pretty soon.
Right, hurry up, I want to call you slow cop.
So we're basically creating this app and we're making it easy for coaches to be able to basically record their athletes, show them maybe areas of improvement, show them what they're doing well. And what we're also doing is we're trying to really broaden out what coaches is defined as. It could be a high school coach, it could be a youth coach, it could also be a volunteer or a parent who really they're just going to the batting cage with their kid, and while you're there, guess what? You've got your phone, which means you've got a video camera. Might as well record them doing it and show them what they look like when they're taking a few swings.
And just to be clear, we're talking iOS 5 Apple devices?
We're going to launch on the brand new, as of yesterday, iOS 5. Again, Brooks will show you some of the iOS hotness that we've gotten here and kind of what we're working on. As for the world's problem with throwing t-shirts being lame, we've solved that too. To help kick off Coach's Eye, we thought, what? Let's give everyone, or not everyone.
Not everyone.
Let's give everyone a chance to win a branded t-shirt cannon with 100 t-shirts to go with it. So we've got a little kickoff promotion going where some lucky winner will have their own logo on there, whether it's their school, whether it's their corporate logo, or even, just a family thing. So,
and we'll have information on the blog, so we don't have to spend
I'll
time
plug it
talking
again
about
at the end. Yeah.
Okay. So let's get into the device and actually be able to see.
Not so fast. Not so fast, as my friend Lee Corso would say on game day. All right. So a couple things I wanted to say here. Let's put down that ridiculous Halloween costume. So where I want to give you a little backstory on where this came from, and I'll try and make this really fast. I'll talk really fast. How about that? So worked in the R&D department here at TechSmith, which is basically 4 dudes, nerds, trapped in a closet for about a year and a half arguing about what the future should be. That was a lot of fun, I can tell you that much. And out of that emerged a few different experiments, one of which was called at the very beginning MathCast. And the idea was we've got all these awesome devices that our dearly departed leader had left to us, and they provide all kinds of new opportunities, right? So you have tablets out here, and it's tactile UI. It's got a microphone on it. We were like, man, you should be able to make a MathCast super easy on top of this device. So very early R&D versions of it came out of our group. As we were discussing it, it was like, oh, this is freaking awesome. But you know what would be even better is if you could actually draw over the top of video, like John Madden, Maddencast. That was immediately what leapt out to us. And so we've been fixated on that idea for a while. So I have a big mantra, which is like, take what the device gives you, right? So you got these mobile phones, and what does that mean? Well, I got a little cheat sheet here I got to read off of. They give you a bunch of different things. They got a full networking stack. That means you can shoot and communicate anywhere you want. They've got a hardware encoder in them. Hello, H.264 video hardware encoded. That's awesome, right? They've got a tactile touchscreen, just like the iPad does. Microphone, a video camera in the last couple of generations, text messaging, your personal context, hello, social network built right into the device, right? So when we started to think about all these things and all the new contexts that are open to you as a software developer, the phone goes with you everywhere. That means you can solve new problems in different spots. You can really tighten up the feedback loop. You can focus on immediacy. We started to say, hey, let's look at this sports segment and see if we can't do something really interesting with that. So you take the idea of a coach who's reviewing a baseball player's swing or a tennis player's stroke, or their football team's play or their basketball team's play. You allow them to draw and annotate over the top of it. All right, I'm going to
let's just show them.
This covers a lot of people, right? So we're not. Look, I've got kids. They go play soccer. I've got brother-in-law. His daughter plays softball. All of a sudden you're talking about a lot of people who probably want to be able to do this. They want to be able to give feedback because they're already engaged in this activity of coaching.
Yeah. And the thing is a typical telestrator, like you see John Madden use on TV, or the czar of the telestrator, Mike Fratello, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, specialized equipment, very difficult to get your hands on and use. We want to make this a practical application for folks all over the place, right? So
let's see that application.
All right, yeah, sorry.
Let's see it.
You can call me Mr. Slow Guy now. All right, so you launch Coach's Eye, which it's got a super awesome icon, which we didn't spend a lot of time there on, but Russians made it. We may or may not have paid them in vodka.
Yeah.
All right, so Coach's Eye has basic video recording capabilities. So if you hold the camera up, the phone up, you push the record button, you can record something super stimulating, like thumb wrestling. I crush you.
That's the next video, thumb wrestling.
A little behind the scenes video here too. So.
Right. So when you're done recording, it pops into your library. Basically what you have is 2 different options in your library. You have originals. This is your original footage. This is things you've recorded with the camera. Or you can bring in stuff from your camera roll. So you just pop into that, choose a video from your camera roll and bring it in. When you pop out of that, you want to make a critique.
Or connection.
We lost
you pulled out the connection.
Sorry. Are we good?
Too much excitement.
So here, go back to your main screen.
Home screen.
Sorry about that. Technical things happen, pulling out where it looks like we're back.
Right.
So sorry about that, folks.
Sorry. Dog off the leash here. I'm a little excited. So
we're back. So you got your original in there?
Yeah, we've got all of our footage that we filmed. Let's say we wanted to do a review or make a critique, right? So first I want to show you one really cool thing. Is that thumb video really sucks? Let's delete that. Kill it. Yep. Oh, flames. Yes, there must be flames.
And then it leaves a burnt spot.
Yep. Yeah,
Fantastic.
that was like one thing we were all united on as a team was there must be flames as much as possible, right? So, of course, we've got it in there with the delete functionality. So we want to do a review of, let's say, this hockey clip. So I'm going to go ahead and choose to view it. And you can see right here I've got this really nice scrub wheel where I can go frame by frame, or I can fast forward, I can stop, I can pause. All right, so that looks like a pretty good stroke there. Slap shot by John Veidt. So this is great for immediacy in terms of review. You film an athlete right there on the spot, you pull them aside, you frame by frame go over it with them, and you show them what's going on, what's wrong. We have a bunch of writing tools which allow you to draw on top of the screen. So you can focus on an area. Hey, look at that. You might focus on stick position here, that type of thing. You can play this back in slow-mo mode. Oh, nice, all right. Again, you can pause, you can rewind, that type of stuff. So that's great on the spot. What about if you want to send a video to someone with all of this telestration, this slow motion, this frame-by-frame analysis of what's going on? Well, we've got the record button up here. So we're going to go ahead and find where we want to start our telestrated analysis at. And we're going to start right here. We're going to go ahead and push the record button. And I might start off by just playing this back in slow motion once to sort of see what's going on. Okay, now let's take a look at what's really good about this hockey stroke, and I have no idea. So, last time I played hockey, I broke both of my collarbones. So
Don't let Brooks play hockey again, please.
Right. So what we've got going on here, though, is, again, we've got the drawing. We'll play this back. We can, just to prove to you that we can draw while motion's happening. We can clear the stuff off. More drawing, clearing. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop. Now what happens? This is where the hardware encoder on the device kicks in, right? So this device right here transcodes this into H.264 MPEG-4 video. That's super awesome. That's the preferred method of video on the web. It's industry standard, and it's pretty dang quick. You look at that, just like that video that I made here has been encoded. All the compositing is in it. Oops. No. Oh, it's trying to play on the Apple TV. Oops.
So then, you can watch it. You can watch the playback, see what it looks like.
Let's watch this back. So the audio was recorded, all the audio narration that I was doing. So there was that slow-mo. There's the pausing. Here we're rewinding back through, so we can really break down what's going on with the athlete's motion, the stroke, the play on the field, right? So all of that happens. Let's see if I ever do some drawing on this.
There you go.
There's some drawing right there. You see I'm drawing while the video is moving. And that's pretty awesome stuff. You know how hard it is to do telestration on your computer alone? There's not very many applications that allow you to do it. And when you do have to do it, you have to have your own microphone hooked up. You have to have a sophisticated piece of software. You have to know how to use that sophisticated piece of software. It's just a lot of different steps, a lot of technical knowledge. This you don't have to have too much.
So, okay, because we're running out of time here. So what do we do with this now that we got it, though?
Okay, so we just made our critique. What would you like to do with it? Well, you can text message it. Preferred method of communication between coaches and athletes. I mean, that's the way my wife and our kids, we all stay in touch with each other. That's the way coaches and athletes are communicating. You've got email, all right? So we're gonna upload the critique to the TechSmith cloud. We're gonna drop a link into the text message or email, and you just pick them from your context list on the device, right? You can also share into YouTube. This is super sweet because you don't see this a lot on YouTube. Oh. We'd have to log into the account. Full control of your privacy. You can do public, you can do private, you can do unlisted, right? So full control, that's what you don't see a lot of. We will also support Twitter output, I believe. And you can also save this to your camera roll, which opens up lots of interesting possibilities. Now you can save it to your device in the camera roll. You can sync it up with your computer. You can open it with other applications. You can do basically whatever you want with that piece of industry standard H.264 video. You can also bring content in from Dropbox, so that's really nice when you get
email.
And email. So with that import button.
Okay, so this is very cool. I'm sure everyone's really excited to get it. When are we looking at having it available to the masses?
We will have it in the App Store in November. But for right now, people can help getting rid of lame T-shirt tossing by going to coacheseye.com and signing up to be notified when it's launched. That will also enter you into the contest, so you could potentially win that custom T-shirt cannon.
Awesome.
Can I get 15 seconds?
15 seconds.
15 seconds.
Counting.
I would be remiss if I didn't thank our awesome team. We have a group of developers, marketing people, interns even, that are just rocking it out. They are kicking it like I've never seen anyone kick it before. We started this project on July 12th. We've done some amazing things on device. We've really wrapped up a really nice package, beautiful package. Thank you guys. It's been a pleasure and an honor.
Yeah, awesome work to our development team. Kuj and Brooks, bad cop, bad cop. Thanks, guys, for coming in. We'll put up links. Go to coacheseye.com and go find out how you can get yourself a t-shirt cannon.
Follow us on Twitter
Yeah,
at Coach's Eye. Like us on Facebook.
Yep, we're on the Facebook.
You know the deal.
YouTube, we've got a sweet YouTube channel.
We're everywhere.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. We're going to take a quick break. Brooks needs another Diet Coke. We'll be back in a minute.
Absolutely.
What if there was a world where teachers and students could talk to each other outside of the classroom? The ScreenChomp iPad app makes sharing your ideas and knowledge easy and fun, no matter where you're at. ScreenChomp has a simple whiteboard, a variety of markers, and a scrolling background that lets you doodle on any image. It allows my teacher to record on-the-go tutorials with full audio and send them home with students. All he has to do is send his videos to screenchomp.com and then paste the link to his blog or webpage. This helps me better understand the material when I'm not in the classroom. That's how I get help, but what if one of my friends still doesn't get it? This is my friend Joe. Joe just can't seem to understand a problem, and he's ready to give up. It's not hard for students to feel alone and worried when they can't understand something at home. That's where ScreenChomp comes in. It bridges the gap between the problem and getting help. Joe can draw his math problem on ScreenChomp while explaining what he's not understanding and send the shareable URL out to his friends. I may know how to solve the problem, so I can make a video and send it back to Joe, explaining how to get it done. This takes a lot of stress off Joe's shoulders and gives him the confidence to keep studying. So how will you start using ScreenChomp? Download the free app today on TechSmith Labs or directly from the iPad App Store and find out.
All right, we are back. Again, thanks to Kuj and Brooks and the whole Coach's Eye team. We've got Shane, our product manager for Camtasia Studio and Camtasia on the Mac, and he is here for Screencast of the Month. Welcome, Shane.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks for having me, everybody. Hi out there.
So, Shane, before we get into the Screencast of the Month, why don't you, I know we've done 24 and 24 before. Some people might know you. Give us a quick kind of background of who you are and what you do here at TechSmith.
Sure. I'm Shane Lovellette. I'm the product manager for Camtasia Studio and Camtasia for Mac. And basically, I'm responsible for understanding customer needs and figuring out what problems people are trying to solve, help communicate that to the development teams, help them understand the context of that, and then so our awesome development teams can solve those problems in the best possible way and deliver awesome products to our customers.
Fantastic. Okay, so normally we have Betsy or Dave come in for the Screencast month, but we got Shane because it's Halloween. It's like a costume, just pretend. Shane is
I really don't look like this.
Yeah,
This is my
It's a
costume.
mask. Darn you rascally
I am
kids.
Betsy, really. Just pretending.
So we've got a Screencast. What have you got for us today?
We've got a great example of a screencast that's a little different. It's actually done to communicate some personal news from this user, Kyle Gilbert, and it was really a take on if you saw the Super Bowl where Google did told the story through Google search. It takes that concept and extends that to really communicating some personal information in a really unique and powerful way.
So a lot of times I think we talk about Screencast in terms of business needs or technical needs, but it doesn't have to be those things. It can also be very personal. It can be something that's shared between family or friends.
Exactly. And what I really like about this is you could take the same concept and apply it in your business or in your work environment to help communicate a message, because it's just an example of a really powerful way to communicate a story or information to someone, but in an engaging way where they really get sucked into the story of it, and I think that helps resonate the actual message that you're trying to tell.
Okay, well let's watch a little bit.
All right, so I've kind of jumped ahead a little bit so we can get a sense for what this is. And so that's the real punch at the end that kind of creates that little anticipation that the whole thing was really about announcing, obviously, pregnancy, but not just of one, but of twins to whoever they were sending this out to. So using the Google search, and it was really interesting too, of using music. There's no voiceover, no description at all. It's all just basically screen recording, nice zooms in to emphasize the specific topics that are being searched for in the box, and then pulling out and highlighting those things and really telling that story through a few words, and the music just helps tie it all together.
Yeah, you know, I actually have an experience. We did this for my kids last year. Not this exact thing, telling them we had twins, but tell them what we were doing for Christmas, and it just conveyed such a powerful message that you know, they were so excited because it wasn't mom and dad just saying, "Here you go."
Right.
It had the story, and so this is fantastic. Well, thanks, Shane, for coming in and sharing this with us. So if you guys have feedback about Camtasia Studio, Camtasia for Mac, you got things you think you need in the products, you know, send us some feedback at. Go to feedback.techsmith.com. That's our Get Satisfaction page. Shane is listening. He wants to hear what you guys think you need for those products to make your life even better and do more awesome things. So we want to thank everyone on the show, Tom Johnson, Brooks and Kuj, Dan Nunez, and Shane Lovellette. And we're out for this episode. But before we close...
Coach's Eye.
Oh, Coach's Eye. Look at that.
Don't forget.
I think everyone should
T-shirt
get
cannon.
big hats with cameras on it, although that might be a little creepy.
Maybe we won't do that.
But so if you want to give us some feedback, remember it's theforge@techsmith.com. You can follow us on Twitter, #TSCForge, and we are out. Thanks, everybody.